So something that I love about Swarthmore is that on a day-to-day basis, we're encouraged to think of new, creative solutions to problems in the real world. And that's kind of what Wallet has been for me, where I was on the plane trying to think of an online world that wasn't so governed by advertisements, or at least to find a way where merchants can advertise their product to customers and have that actually be beneficial for customers. Nobody has a solution for this yet. But quick show of hands, who in here has Facebook? All right, so almost everyone. Keep your hands raised if you just love seeing advertisements on Facebook. All right, hands are going down. That's the problem for merchants right there. It's a little bit of a different story on LinkedIn where if I see a job or an ad for a job on LinkedIn, I'm okay with that because that's why I'm on LinkedIn. But when merchants are advertising their product to customers on Facebook, it's out of place and it's inherently flawed. And that's where Wallet comes in. It's a platform for users to discover new brands, connect with friends, and engage and get rewarded for their consumer habits, while offering merchants a unique, precise, and targeted way to engage with their customers. Despite its complexities, it's a really simple idea. I log on to Wallet and I get free gift cards to places that I love. So I see a stream of free gift cards that I can choose from, and if one of those jumps out at me if I want it, all I have to do to get that gift card is to reshare it to the friends who follow me. I put it up on my wall, so I wall it, and by doing that, it sends it to my phone where it's stored in a virtual wallet until I decide to spend it. So now, everyone who follows me can see that I've just shared that. They now have access to it. They can wall it too, and it gets propagated through the network like that. This is a top-down, network scientific approach to giving people discounts. Users are connected to a limited number of people, so they're incentivized to connect with people who they share consumer interests with. Just think about it. If I know I'm going to see the gift cards that my friends are sharing, I'm going to want to make sure I'm connected with friends who will show me cool stuff. And that's what's most unique about this network, is that the architecture is completely different than any network that exists, where my Facebook friends likely have disparate consumer interests, but to an advertiser, my Wallet friends might as well be my shopping buddies. Behind the scenes, we're going to use principles from network science to pinpoint optimal places in our network of users to see the deals that the merchants provide us, based on whatever they want to get out of it. So if that's re-engaging old customers or bringing in new customers, we can offer them that. Finally, we'll do a better job at turning our users into long-term customers, because unlike existing discount websites like Groupon or Living Social, Wallet gift cards don't devalue the product in the mind of the users. So discounts have been around forever. There's an entire multi-billion-dollar coupon industry where merchants are eager and willing to pay coupon distributors to get the word out about their product. There's a show on TLC called Extreme Couponing. Like, we love coupons, but it's not the 90s anymore, and no one's really flipping coupons. Although if you are, I know an app you might like. Wallet is a consolidated rewards program. It's a Match.com for gift cards. It's the love child of Facebook and Groupon with a little Nate Silver probability magic mixed in. And please ask questions, thank you, and I love talking about this. I know your question. You sure did. All right. So how are we going to make money? And it doesn't seem like there's that much money to make giving people free stuff. But there is. So if you know about me that I really like, say, pizza, Doritos, and shopping at Target, then you know that there's a certain amount of nudge points that will get me out of my feet and into that store. So if I have a $2 gift card to Chipotle, that's probably enough to get me to go. If I have a $3, that's definitely enough. $1 maybe not so much. So each person has their own little nudge point. And offering packages to merchants based on how many gift cards they're distributing through our system and the price of those individual gift cards, we can kind of tailor a package deal to them. That's the first way. The second way, and more down the line, is eventually once this full, really robust data-driven network is in existence, we'll have very powerful analytics and very powerful data sets that we can sell a la carte to merchants or marketing executives, where we will be able to show trends in consumer data that are at this point otherwise not found. So one example is you can find links between conceptual spaces in markets. So if there's a certain type of trend that all people who like Chipotle also just like pizza. That's a bad example, but one example of this is that Kit Kat recently did an ad campaign where they paired Kit Kat and coffee. Right, so not necessarily two things that you think go together, but they were really successful because individually Kit Kat and coffee are both really popular. And forcing that comparison, forcing that link in the customer's minds is really a good marketing strategy.
Would you be concerned that merchants would just look at this as paying to get customers they already would get because it's catering to your existing interests?
Yes and no. So for the big already branded, already existing corporations that exist in most cities, we are incentivizing people to go to those at the expense of other places. But at the same time, if my friend who I know really has good taste in certain types of restaurants or really good retail taste or something, and they share something new that I don't necessarily know about, I'm more willing to accept that because it's coming from a close source of friend who is someone that I already respect. So I think, to answer your question, what we can, and that's also touches on the fact that we can offer, if you're telling us that you want more geographic or demographic goals out of your wallet experience, we can provide you that. If you want to re-engage old customers who have already told us that they love your product, we can do that. Or if somebody doesn't necessarily know about your product yet, we can target to them too.
It seems that one of your core problems now, algorithm, two problems. So the first is surfacing the user's real interest, and second, using the algorithm to properly understand user behavior so it can determine interest. But would you talk more about algorithm development and your view about the need for customization as you move across different communities?
Okay, so I'm a psychology major. I said I'm a psychology major, and I'm not necessarily the most well-versed in programming and actually implementing algorithms. But the one that I've built so far draws on a lot of different existing platforms. So I joked at the end saying it's a Match.com for gift cards. Match.com actually has a brilliant algorithm that pairs people together based on what people say about themselves and how much weight they give that importance. That's one place that I've kind of reached from. The second place is when you sign up for Netflix, there's this whole process like, do you like the movie The Code? Do you like this movie? All these pretty archetypal movies that they have found are very useful in generating user preferences. And then so after that, they'll say, you might also like this movie. Because based on the umptillion tests that they have done, those movies are shown to be powerful in terms of collapsing the space of the user's preferences. Second point on the algorithm is that it not only comes from preferences is only built on what I like as a consumer, it's built on who I prefer to get input from. So if I know that, like I said before, if I know that my friend Morgan is interested in this type of, so if he has a really good taste, I weight his decisions more highly, and the algorithm picks that up based on my individual friends.
Does it pick it up because you choose to give him weight, or by the frequency
Because
of
I the user chooses to give him weight based on my behavior. So I more frequently share his deals because he shares good deals. And he is in a position in the network where he is more likely to be shown a deal that he's willing to share with me, which is relevant to me. So I can't necessarily take his position in the network because I'm not him. But it's beneficial for me as a user to connect with him.
So is it the usage of the various people that is driving where they are in that hierarchy, or their own input on preferences?
Yeah. What do you mean by hierarchy? So is that
Like
the
someone,
centrality?
someone who is more influential.
Yeah. There's two answers to that question. Because in most social networks, we think of people who are highly social or highly connected have a basically better benefit in that space. So if you have a lot of Facebook friends, you're more likely to be targeted because you're just a better Facebook user. This kind of gets around that in that you don't have to be centrally located in the network to experience the perks. That's the first thing. The second thing is that if you are centrally located, you can get benefits above and beyond what already exists. So if there's a really influential user, the deals that that person shares can, there's a couple things we're playing around with. So I'm actually interested in ideas. But if, say I share a $3 gift card to Chipotle, and I'm really influential in this network, and my share influenced the shares of people who are like 4 degrees away from me. So my friends have shared it. That can compound so that if a certain amount of people share it, I get like a penny each time. So eventually I get like $4 instead of $3. So it's more beneficial for me as a better user of the system.
So walk me through, let's take that example for a minute. So there's a $3 gift card to Chipotle. You put it on your wall, it goes to your friend, it goes to your friend's friend, it goes to your friend's friend's friend. Now, how did you make money? How did Wallet make money?
So we have already sold the packages of Chipotle is willing to give us X amount of money to distribute Y amount of gift cards on the system.
So they're buying a package in advance of distribution.
And what we hope to be able to tell them is that with this purchase, you can expect this amount of profit based on what we've seen before.
So just to be clear, because I'm not clear, so they're going to give you $100 worth of coupons, and you're going to keep 10. Is that what happens? How do you get paid?
Yeah, I don't know necessarily the percent they're going to take, but it might be something close to 10%. Or if they give us $1,000 worth of coupons to distribute, we'll do it optimally for them because it's in our best interest too, and we'll take $100 of that.
But I think what you're saying is they're going to give us X dollars worth of coupons to distribute and pay us Y dollars in fee. And Y dollars is not going to vary no matter how successfully those coupons are redistributed. They're just going to pay you a flat fee.
Well, all of the coupons will be distributed on the network. So whether or not someone, and the users are incentivized to actually go and use the coupons because that's like why we exist. So what we can say is every time you wallet, every time you actually spend one of the deals in your wallet, there's a little perk for you. So maybe you can add another slot in your wallet. Like the one in my back pocket has 6 slots for gift cards. What if there were 7 or 8 or 9? Well, what if I could follow one more person? So there's one more person whose data I can, or who's sharing deals that are relevant to me that I might like. That's a huge incentive for me in the system.
I'm sorry, that's not the question I'm asking.
I'm
The
sorry.
question I'm asking is, who's taking the risk that Wallet is going to be a successful marketing scheme for Chipotle? Are they paying you a fixed fee and they're taking the risk that that was a good investment? Or every time somebody walks in with one of those coupons and it actually demonstrates that it was a good investment, do you get paid on those actual coupons, or do you get paid whether or not anybody ever shows up at Chipotle?
So I've gone back and forth with myself about this, where should Wallet's profit be based on the profit of the merchants, which is really enticing for the merchants because they don't really use anything. And that's likely something that we would try to strive towards, but for now, it's difficult to say, like, trust me, this works. Without.
Okay, so let's move on. Questions, stay focused. Yeah, let's go. Raise your voice, please.
How do you convince a merchant to participate without first having a robust database and vice versa?
So how do you go?
We're starting pretty small. This next week, we're starting a rollout thing in media. So if any of you guys live in media, email me on media discounts. But basically, what we hope to be able to say is that when we gave this many people this percent discount or this large of a gift card, they ended up spending this much at your store or an analogous store.
Next question. Go ahead.
Is there going to be a ceiling on the number of discounts you can give out? In other words, totally
The number of discounts we can give.
Sorry, can you clarify that a little bit? So,
totally give you X amount of dollars. You're not going to want to give $3 discounts to a billion people.
yes. Yeah.
So is there going to be an upper limit on the amount of discount?
Oh, if they give us a million different coupons to give out, then we'll probably stagger that throughout the year. Like, we want to flood it with all Chipotle gift cards because it's not necessarily.
But if people want to go to a store and they reach out to their friends and ask for a gift card?
So if you're connected to, if you're following 7 people and none of them have shared the gift card that you necessarily want, you should find new friends. But yeah, so I joke about it, but we're also thinking about implementing a thing where companies themselves, merchants themselves can have their page, and so users can follow, say, one company. So they'll get all the discounts that company rolls out.
Question? Go ahead.
So yeah, this is the expansion question. So one of the things that, actually my favorite thing about Wallet is the fact that it's built on so much network science, like academia research, where inherent in the wallet process is the wallet's growth. So what I mean by that, I touched on it a little bit too by saying you're incentivized to connect with people that you share consumer interest with. That's the first thing. The second thing is if you're not connected with someone who shares your consumer interest, you can bring in someone who is outside the network that you know you value their opinions on buying things. And what that does is that gives Wallet a piece of data by who you exclude from your network. And that also brings in a new person to the network. So at each iteration of this, it has the potential to, double the network. We won't actually do that, but like it'll try to approach it. So we're trying to incentivize following more and more people at every step.
Go ahead. Yes.
How do you differentiate yourself from already social coupon services like apps for Facebook?
So, differentiation.
Yeah, and it's true. Like Facebook could, if they wanted to just set up a wallet system, they could do it themselves. Like that, like a 500 million or a billion person network or something like that. But what is distinct and what's very important about this is that their network was built on using Facebook. Like you go to Facebook to use Facebook and stalk friends from high school or whatever you do, but you don't go to express consumer habits or express like you can like things and you can share things, and it gets bits and pieces of passively collected information from that. But there's no active incentive to build the network solely based on this concept.
You're the Wall.IT domain.
Wall.IT? God, I'm trying to get it so bad. It's this Italian person right now.
How much consumer data are you going to gather? How much are you going to share? What are you going to do exactly?
The protection part is something that at this point is way over my head, and I am eager to have help with that. But the consumer data that we'll collect is, we're actually, so I'm working on an online kind of research study that's sort of connected to this. It's a more broad network study experiment. We're trying to figure out how much data people are willing to give, depending on how much they know about what they're giving the data for. So if you know that like the more data you tell me about what places you like, the better your deals could be, I feel like people would be willing to spend 5 minutes filling out a survey.
More questions?
That needs to be tested.
Okay.
Would there be a second, would you allow the beneficial to have a secondary market for wallet coupons?
Secondary market.
So someone gets a couple coupons from their friends and they don't really want them, can they resell them?
Oh, that's a good. Yeah. So.
It's more of an advice than a question. Let's go. Yeah.
Will the merchants be given the contact information of the customers?
Yeah, that was right.
Oh, that's technical protection. Okay. I don't think so. I don't think they would need it.
It could be of value to the merchants.
But it would also also maybe diminish our ability to sell them something later in our process by saying, like, listen, we've got this great data set about your customers. Do you want it?
Brennan, take that as strategic partner, which one would it be and why?
Strategic merchant partner?
Everything comes strategic product.
Who would be your strategic partner?
What would be
Have
your
a
choice?
choice. And why?
So I'm moving to Palo Alto this summer to get this started, and likely a not already hugely branded company, so maybe a smaller restaurant type merchant. So I also get confused a little bit when I think about the retail side of it. One of the partners on Wallet right now is much more knowledgeable about retail. So my personal preference would be to start with restaurants and to start with a small, but cool restaurant in Palo Alto. There should be a retail side of it, and that's something we need to think through.
We have 2 minutes, so more questions? Oh, yeah, very good, thank you.
So, I guess the question I have is, let's say I go into Starbucks or a shop store or whatever it is, and it is a coupon you guys have. How do I know that that's the coupon? How do I know that? Right? Because if you guys have that coupon, so I'm all following. How do I know?
So how do
So
I access the
you
coupon?
get the coupon by walling it. So you share with your friends, and that stores it in your phone. So when you go to J.Crew, you're just saying, and this is infrastructurally a little bit more complicated, where it's either something that they scan, which more and more places are starting to scan phones, but really you could just give them a number that is your validation code.
So my question is, how do I know that there is a J.Crew coupon? Let's say I'm really easy to go, hey, I have my wallet out. Then how do I find out if there is a J.Crew coupon? Has to be from wallet beforehand or something. How do I know that that's something?
Yeah, so if J.Crew is one of the merchants that you're like most interested in following, you can choose that as your merchant, and slowly this like builds to things that you can. So maybe like after a couple of weeks of using the wallet, you have a second merchant that you can follow, or a third, or a fourth. So there's slowly you're building your own interest network that allows you to actually go do what you want to do with J.Crew. But the infrastructure of the network is just seeing stuff that you want and taking what you want out of it, rather than searching at this point.
Okay, since there's no question, I will ask. Go ahead.
Pretend I'm a merchant. Why are you better than Groupon for me?
All right, so who here has gotten a Groupon? And can you just yell out what you do that you got recently?
Cluck You Chicken. For my son. It's a chicken place that my son
Chicken?
frequents. Yeah.
You got a chicken then. I recently got $8 sushi, or no, $20 sushi for $8. That's a great deal for me. Like, I was eating sushi and I was thinking, wow, like next time I come here, the first thing that I want to do is spend full price on this meal. No, that's an $8 sushi in my mind. It's not $20. So it's great for meeting one-time customers. It's great for if you want to like buy tires really cheaply or something, because you're going to do that once. But for sustained long-term customer user base, it's not going to happen. And their stock is going to happen.
Thank you, Brennan.